Hi, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. My name is Isabel Ross, and I'm the coach at Peak Endurance Coaching. Episode 56 is an interview with a friend of mine, Mosi Smith. I met Mosi through my friend Nikki Wynd when he was out in Australia last year to run the GSER, the Great Southern Endurance Run. He has run many amazing races and just recently participated in a very interesting challenge. Mosi completed the Diesel Day Grit Check in 62 hours. This was a charity event in the Last Man Standing vein. Mosi was the last man standing after 62 long hours. But I'll let him tell you all the details, so stay tuned. Do you have any injuries or niggles ruining your enjoyment of running and hindering your performance? If you're in Melbourne and you only have 1 hour a day to get outside and run, make sure that it's enjoyable and that you are getting the most out of your time. Health and High Performance can help you with that, and they are currently open. So come in and see the specialists at Health and High Performance, where they can utilise the latest in technology and experience to help you achieve the results you want and are capable of. So head to healthhp.com.au/run or go to Instagram and look up Health High Performance. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Rating, reviewing and sharing helps more people find the podcast and grows the audience. This all helps when I'm trying to contact people to be interviewed. So please enjoy the interview with Mosi.
I'm going to throw a couple of statistics out. 62 hours where the sleep amassed could probably more accurately be measured in seconds rather than minutes. 155 miles, half of that on the True Form Runner, the other half on a horrible course that Tosh thought was cool, but it really was horrible. But one exceptional man that did more than just push himself. Mosi, it's been an honor. I just want to know, tell us how you feel. I know that your brain might be swimming right now, but just talk to us a little bit about what's going on in your head.
I feel thankful to be amongst like such a crew of people. You know, it's kind of hard to find people that are just willing to throw themselves into some sort of physical, emotional test willingly, just at any given point, just because they have the desire to improve themselves or just to see what they're made of. This event is a part of the rollout of the Big Fish Foundation. And with it, we're trying to facilitate these experiences for veterans so that they can come together in these small groups, much like we did now, you know, and share a little bit of adversity, create new connections, and you know, move forward together stronger, a little bit better for that experience. So I think that we've done that here, you know. I'm thankful. Sorry.
I grind.
Hey, come on. Yeah, hey, listen, I mean, I'll keep the mic up, but I could not have said that any better, brother. I mean, and I'm amazed. I can speak for the group confidently that we are profoundly honored to have you here. And although we had 6 other phenomenal athletes, good people inside and out, I'm personally really glad to see you on top of the podium at the Diesel Day Grit Check, brother. And it's been an honor. Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Mosi, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Good to see you, Izzo. How you been?
Yeah, pretty good. You've been doing a lot lately. Do you want to tell my listeners a bit about how you got into running? And so, I know you've done quite a few big races, some of the races that you've done and that sort of thing.
Well, let's see. Most recently, we decided to put on a fundraiser for the Big Fish Foundation. You know, it was basically started last year as another entity that's in the nonprofit space that, you know, is enabling veterans to not only like make healthier transitions, but feel supported during that, but, you know, also build micro communities through experiential outings.
Yep.
Additionally, you know, we're working with other veteran nonprofits in that same space to help facilitate, you know, any of their goals annually. So what that looks like, it differs from organization to organization, but we started that last year. And so the
So you
race.
started the group Big Fish. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can I
Yes.
ask why that name?
Well, so my buddy Brian Chantosh, fellow Marine, his call sign is Big Fish.
Ah, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's quite a bit out there. If you Google the name, you will see why they call him Big Fish.
Okay, I'll do that later.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where you want to try to use use whatever your talents are, your story, for good for another population.
Yeah.
So this is a manifestation of that. And most recently, in order to raise funds for our entity, for subsequent projects, we decided to have the Diesel Day Grit Check. So it takes a similar note from Big's Backyard Challenge put on by Laz, right? But it also adds in a strength component as well, where every hour you're running a 2.5 mile circuit, whether that is on a true form runner or whether that is on the trails.
Yeah.
And then you're also doing as many body weight bench press reps as you can each hour.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be active for the full hour?
You just basically have to complete the run, and then you can do as many reps as you need to.
And how does those reps contribute towards your total of whatever it is? Like, I could do 4 reps, but you do 20. What's the difference?
No, good question. Good question. So each rep, 50 reps on the bench counted as 1 round of running.
Okay.
So in essence, if you did 500, that'd be basically 10 hours of running.
Yeah, nice. And so just for those listeners who don't know, can you explain a little bit about a true form treadmill?
Okay. So the true form runner, it's to promote natural running form.
Yeah.
So my buddy Jeff, he got with Dr. Mark Cucuzella back east.
Yeah.
And they basically developed, refined this apparatus, and it looks like if you took a woodway and curved it.
Yeah.
All right. It's basically supposed to promote natural footfall and shortening of the stride and a little bit of the forward lean as well. So if you land wrong on it, there's instantaneous feedback. It slows down.
Yeah.
So you're working. You're not. It's like the honest governor, out there.
So it's your footfall and push off and everything is what keeps it moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Human power all the way.
Yes, that's right. I've actually run on one before, and it is quite interesting, something different. Yeah. Okay. So each hour you would alternate whether it was the true form or the trail, or did you do the true form during the day and the trail at night?
Each hour revolving. So there was a group of us. We were split pretty much down the middle. Half the group went on to start with the true form. The other half started on trails.
Yeah.
And we flip-flop every hour.
Fair enough. That sounds good. And so you obviously were out there the longest. You were there for 62 hours. That's a long time to be keeping on moving. How did you manage that?
Well, one step at a time and a lot of food, some jokes. No, I mean, honestly, the group, that we started together as, it was more of a, it was a little competition fused in there, but it was more of a, hey, I want you to succeed. I want you to go as far as you can possibly go. And some of you are going to, figure out that, your boundaries are a lot further out than you thought they were. And each person that came into the event, an outright, animal in their own right, if you just look at their individual resumes. So it was a matter of like collectively, hey, how far can we push each other? Right. So that was the fuel, so to speak, at
so
least
it's more a sort of everyone working together to try to get whoever eventually finished to the furthest point possible.
Right, right. And it's just like ultra running, I mean,
Yeah.
it is ultra running. It's looking out for each other, along
Yeah.
the way. And
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
So when you say you ate a lot, what sort of things were you eating?
I mean,
I always love
everything
to
from,
talk about food.
let's see. I mean, there was a little bit of everything, from grilled meats to,
Oh, okay.
whatever salads, like some of the stuff, like it flips out of my head, but,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there were gels there, there were
Yeah.
chews,
Yeah.
waffles, trying to think, you know, our buddy Nick, he was on the grill for most of the event, and
Okay.
anything that he cooked, I ate.
Yeah.
And he cooked a lot, so
So
I
you
just
didn't get nauseous at all? You were able to eat the whole time?
yeah,
Wow,
the
that's
whole time.
awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the thing is too, it's like with it being 2.5 miles, it's not necessarily a speed game,
Yeah.
right? At that point, it's
Yeah.
just endurance, and you're not taxing the gut as much.
True.
So,
Yeah.
if you're careful about how much you take in, cool, you can eat
And
all
so,
day and all night.
yeah, yeah. And so the presses that you did, how many did you do each round?
I believe I ended up. Well, I started out trying to do maybe 15 or so. There's a picture
Yeah.
out there somewhere, by the way. But
I'll try and find
I
it.
I tried to do 15 or so, just to put in a modest effort up front. And
Yeah.
you know, other competitors, they were doing 5-0,
Oh,
50.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So at that point, it's like, all right, blinders on, like do
That's
what you
it.
can do,
Yeah.
and just keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I tapped. I maxed out myself, and I
Yeah.
tapped out around 120-ish or so, for
Uh,
the entire time.
okay. And so towards the end, were you still doing them or just doing the running?
It was all running by the end,
Yeah.
all
Yeah, I
running.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because those upper body muscles would fatigue well before. Yeah. And
definitely.
so did you sleep at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
There was the ability to take a handful of naps.
yeah.
Nothing more than 20 minutes, maybe at a time. But it was, you had to add in a bit of strategy. Usually with most of these challenges, you have to start either at the top of the hour or somewhere
Yeah.
between, top of the hour and 5 minutes after, something like that. This one, you could start whenever you wanted within that hour.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you could run 20 minutes, if you knew you had 20 minutes of run in you, you could start at 40 after and get it done,
So you
and
could
then
start the first one, say on the hour, right? Do your 20-minute run, then you could nap for an hour theoretically, and then start your 20-minute run again after that. Could you not?
yeah, you could.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds not too bad.
Yeah, but you better make it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You better
that's
make
true.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing too, I'll add, this was located at my buddy's house out there in Colorado,
Yeah.
and where he lives with respect to Boulder, he lives up from the city, and it's about a little over 7,000 feet right in his backyard.
Okay.
So
Where in Boulder is that? What's that called?
it's called Netherland is
Yeah,
the name of where he lives.
I stayed with a friend in Netherlands last year.
Okay. Right on.
Beautiful
Right
spot.
on.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I loved it there. I would have
Yeah.
stayed. You should have
I
let
hear
me.
you.
um,
Yeah.
anyway, enough about me. And so 62 hours, how did you feel by the end?
Pretty euphoric.
Yeah.
It's just I'll be honest, and walking into it, knowing what I knew about everybody else, mentally I was prepared to be out a little longer if I had to.
Oh, really?
Physically, I don't know how that would have translated, but in
Yeah.
my head, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
at least 60 hours, but definitely shooting for 80, if we
Oh,
can.
seriously? Oh my God.
Well, I mean, that's what you have to, like,
Yes, tell
put
yourself.
that big goal out there, right?
Yeah, because
But
if you told yourself 60 hours, then
yeah,
that's right.
and then if everybody shows up at 60, then it's like, oh crap.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did the person who dropped out before you get to 61 hours?
Oh, the gent, that was actually Tasha and I were the last two.
Ah,
And he
yeah.
was,
I hadn't heard of him.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was going strong,
Yeah, he's a tough
and
guy
so,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
easily. Uh, and to make it, I guess, to make me work a little bit more, he upped his numbers on the bench to the point
Ah.
where I think it was maybe about 10 or so hours after the fact where, I had to do more laps
Oh,
in order to
wow.
overcome that lead. So, yeah,
Oh, geez, that's hard. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, well, good
yeah,
on him for pushing you. That's good. I mean, that's what you want, isn't it, really?
that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you train for this?
Honestly, I mean, I live out here in Southern Oregon,
Yeah.
so,
Horrible place to
layering up.
run. Yeah.
What's that?
Horrible place to run.
Say again?
Horrible place to
Oh,
run.
yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, as far as accessing backcountry
Yeah.
trails, I can drive up 20 minutes out and there I am in the middle of nowhere, and
No,
so
you're very lucky.
layer up, middle of
Yeah.
the day, just go run and basically just packing on the miles,
Yeah. Did
I
you
did
do much training during the night?
I did a little bit. I actually tested. I did a little test about a month before,
Yeah.
where basically the top of every hour I would run 1 mile, and I
Yeah.
did that for roughly a day and a half just to see
Oh.
how that felt.
And how did that feel?
I'll say the first night was kind of rough. I realized that I need to go ahead and start implementing rest ahead of
Yeah.
time, and not fight it.
Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
the naps came in.
Yeah. 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 Naps
Yeah.
can have an amazingly restorative effect, can't they?
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
And so what was your recovery like after that?
Honestly, I mean, I'm probably still recovering just in some aspects.
Yeah.
But I'll say that I didn't pop over. I hadn't had a long run up until just last weekend.
And
My
sorry,
long
just tell the listeners, what date was it on?
This was I believe the 5th of June. We started on I want to say a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're currently, well, in Australia, we are the 20th of
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're still recovering. And I'm not surprised, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I went out for a long run. I mean, it ended up being a 40-mile effort last Saturday, and towards the end, I could definitely tell that I was still in the hole a little bit. Even though I felt my nutrition and hydration were appropriate,
But
just
still,
given the
a
effort,
40-mile run is tiring for anybody, really, isn't it?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, whether or not you've done something epic, a few weeks before, I still think it's something quite big. So, yeah. Sorry, what was that? Missed that?
Oh, I was just saying, yes, ma'am. It is. It is.
It is. Yeah. And so, were you raising money for the Big Fish Foundation?
Yes.
And
So throughout the event, everybody basically took an outward face virtually and promoted the activities throughout the entire event via social media. So it could have been Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just keeping everybody abreast and then directing people towards the website to donate.
Yeah, fair enough. And how much did you manage to raise?
Let's see. I had that number written down, but I can get back to you.
Yeah,
I don't have it
that's
up
fine.
here.
I can
I
put that in
should.
the show notes. So yeah, I'm sure people will be interested. And can people still donate to that if they would like to?
Oh, yes, definitely. We are a 501c3 organization, so we're set up. So we are an officially recognized as a nonprofit entity.
Yeah, right.
And we're pretty transparent. As far as like our financials, and you can go to our webpage, donate that way, or you can write old-fashioned checks and send them in the mail that way.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Well, I'll get all the links and everything off you and put them in the show notes. Well, that's pretty amazing. But like I was saying at the start, you've done a few amazing things in the past too. Did you want to just talk about, you've run Badwater, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was that like?
Which time?
So how many times have you run it?
I've run it 4. I failed once, and I've been successful 3 times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so was the time you failed the first time?
No, that was 2012. That was pretty successful as far as initial, foray. I think like definitely with that event in particular, there's always a higher level of respect and preparation that you come in with it. Just because it seems like the consequences could be a little bit more dire as far as being able to extract oneself out of the environment quickly, to correct any issues going on. So I look back and I realized that my training was not necessarily as much as I needed it to be, as far as the heat acclimation and as far as the mileage requisite to be able to put in some speed towards the latter end of that course. 2015, I took some of those lessons and flipped it and did a little bit better. And then 2018, I wanted to just go hard from the beginning and try to just see, what I had in the tank, and try to really throw down something fast for me, and ultimately it was a beautiful failure. I'll say that much.
It's good that you were obviously pushing yourself that much harder, and there's always that you're on the knife's edge when that happens.
That's it. And I tell you, I fell off, and I could look back now at the Strava activity, and I can point to a couple F-ups where I'm just like, yeah, man, you shouldn't have been running that fast, in the first 20 miles. No way.
Yeah.
Like, and then the drop off and finally, calling it around mile 90-ish,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still did quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I think, failure is is one of the better teachers out there,
Definitely.
and motivators as well.
Yeah.
So flipping that, I was fortunate enough to go back the following year, last year. And actually, I guess everything came together, the crew, they did what they always do. They're fantastic. And the weather, I mean, whatever the weather is going to be, it's 100% chance of it, right?
Yeah, I like that.
but just smarter execution, and it just seems like all the years of experience, came to bear on a good day, and that was probably one of my better performances out there.
Oh, that's awesome. And so each time, did you have the same crew?
Well, with exception of the first, the 2012, pretty much since 2015, it's been the same people. Yeah.
And so how would you compare something like Badwater to what you did with the final diesel day grit check?
Oh, well, it's like, they're different type of beasts.
Yeah.
They both deserve respect. I think that as far as the level of effort that is needed for Badwater, there's a finite finish line.
Yes.
And so regardless of where you are physically on the course, you look at that thing and it's huge because you're seeing the ripples of heat waves as you're running out of the Badwater basin, and you're just like, all right, at some point down there I'm making a left turn. I can't see it, I have to believe it. I know that I'll get there, right? I think that belief, you have to have that as well, going into something like a last person standing challenge like the Diesel Day Grit Check. You don't know necessarily what the finish line is going to be. Like, it's out there, and you're benchmarking these hours, maybe 24, maybe 48, maybe 60,
Yeah.
maybe 80, but you have to believe that, you're going to hopefully be one of the last people to actually reach that,
Yeah.
and do what you can smartly to get to that point,
Yeah, because I guess that it's the pacing that's the issue here, is because you don't know how long you're going to go, you've just got
hmm
to be a little bit more conservative, perhaps.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yes, I guess that leads into like two things, right? You have to be conservative off the bat. And sometimes, that's also where our personalities come into play.
Yeah.
If we're impatient people, if we like to just go ahead and hammer home
Yeah.
solutions, right off the bat, you'll see that kind of play out in different strategies. And also the second part that comes to mind is becoming comfortable just sitting in the pocket of discomfort,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be something hurting, in the feet, or, oh, my knee is kind of talking to me a little bit. Well, yeah, it's going to talk for a little bit, but you can talk back to it and talk it
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's just like, hopefully by the time the event shows up, you've had enough of those bouts with discomfort and enough time pacing yourself to figure out how long you can sit in that pocket, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think being a Marine has helped you deal with the discomfort of ultra running?
I think that it definitely has helped, as far as providing a backdrop of experiences, deployments, yada yada, preparations, exercises, where you're kind of testing not necessarily the same like physical muscles, but
Mm.
the mental muscle, the grit. It's like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
People like thinking about that. It's like you, you have so many of those pools of experiences to tap into, and you think back, oh man, there was this one time, we were out in 29 Palms, and I remember that, that weekend was the longest thing ever. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, tap back into that mindset, and like transferring something like that into, let's say, like triple Ironman, right? There's training for that, I realized it was more about mindset, and I used those experiences back on active duty to kind of help tap into one of my weaknesses at the time, which was swimming, and kind of figure out, okay, hey, how does it feel to get into the flow state here, and like,
Yeah.
how are you going to fight with discomfort? Like, what techniques are you going to use to talk to the man at the bottom of the pool, so to speak, um, and to me, it's like those skills all transfer. And even in professional settings, it's just like sometimes you may get a little bit frustrated with the progress of a project, and you want to you want you want to push things home, hammer them home quick. And sometimes you got to sit back and talk to yourself and talk
Yeah.
through next steps. So I don't know,
Yeah,
I feel like
no.
I'm rambling, but
No,
that's
no,
what we're
no.
here for.
That's it. That's it. And that's really interesting. And it's really good to hear how you've come to that, and that's what it's all about with ultra running. And it is also so individual, but patience and sitting through it is so much a part of it. And we have to learn to deal with the discomfort because it's inevitable. We can't run away literally and figuratively.
Sounds like something we're going through right now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
just like an ultra, and it's like your last event, because who knows where the ending is? We don't know, do we?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah. So just show people your T-shirt. If you're looking on YouTube, you can see he's got Scythe Adelaide on there. So you've obviously been to Australia. Do you want to tell us some of the races you've done here in Australia?
Let's see. The first one was the Great North Walk.
Oh, yeah.
I got the chance to do the 100K a few years back.
Yeah.
And that was, a beautiful course. That was, I guess, one of the initial like learning curves for me for running there.
Yeah.
The the level, I guess the differences you notice going from country to country. It's like, oh man, like, man, yeah, we're really out here, and you better know how to like read that map, or at least know how to navigate.
Yeah.
There was definitely a couple times during that run where not only was there an internal fight going on, like as to the next turns, but a little mini fight amongst our pocket of runners as far as like, oh no, it's this way, no, it's this way.
No.
It's like, no, it's cool though. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of the experience,
Yeah, it is. It is. And some other ones.
Oh, well, obviously where we met.
That's right.
Oh my God.
GSER.
So
Yeah.
GSER, like I just I get a positive flashback from that whole experience.
Yeah.
And thank you, Sean Greenhill, and everybody else who puts that on. But that venue in itself is just like I don't know, it's it's like a little slice of heaven, right?
Yeah.
But
or hell, yeah.
Also, yeah, or both, right? Because you're looking around and you're visually just being inundated with like these sloping endless hills that kind of are reminiscent of something between the Cascades or the Blue Ridge Mountains here. But you're imagining, okay, where's my next steps going to be? What does that look like? Yeah. And oh well, if I were Sean, I would probably throw us up straight up this mountain here, and then you're coming closer and closer, and you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly where we're going.
Yeah, that's Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like the races, out there. It seems like the level of toughness just is a step up. As far as like all the trail mountain running stuff that I've gotten the chance to do. Yeah. And I'm. I dig it, and I hope to come back.
Well, I'll tell you now that GSR is looking at, they're planning to run it again next year, November, from Mount Buller, starting there. Oh. So you'll have to come back for that.
Okay. All right. And I'll actually have to get it done this time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, unfortunately you did DNF, but,
Yep.
And that's the way it goes. Sometimes I've heard someone call DNF do nothing foolish. So sometimes it is the smart choice. And how did you reconcile yourself to DNFing after that?
I mean, it's like you said, everything is a choice, right? At that point, I got to the turnaround, and I looked at the day's events that transpired, and just like, I was honestly just tired towards the end. And I mean, like, everybody gets tired. That's it's about that. But more than that, I just decided, okay, well, I think I've come here and I've had the experience that I wanted to for what the course would offer, and, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to drop. And I honestly haven't thought about it.
Yeah, that's good. And that's great. Yeah. And I think, that's a lot of people beat themselves up about DNFing, and I think you need to just let it go, because you've made a decision that felt right in the moment, and and I think, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, like, it's just running.
That's it. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to minimize.
No, but that's it. That's really it.
It is true. It is. It's just running at the end of the day, and there's no point in just kicking yourself endlessly for that. And I was going to say, you said you were tired, and sure. But I mean, you're used to, what the tiredness of race tiredness feels like. So I'm sure it was sort of upper level from just ordinary race tiredness.
Yes. I mean, by that point, we're looking at collectively, like a lot of training going towards Badwater earlier in the year. And usually it takes me a good 2 or 3 months to feel right after that. And the year prior, the training for Badwater and the races in between, that kind of staged up for those two events, and just work travels. Yeah. And, all that just taking a collective toll,
It does, like, because stress is stress. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Yeah.
That's it.
So And for your training, what sort of on average for these big races that you do, what does your training? What does an average week look like?
You know, I guess this kind of goes back to high school track and cross country days. Like I was definitely not the kid that would put on like the high miles. And I'm still not, you know. I may crack 100 once in a blue moon, maybe, but usually I'm floating around 70-ish.
Okay.
When I'm in the bag, when I'm really in the training bag. Yeah. And you know, it's like at least one of those days is dedicated to speed work, because I think that's still important.
Yes, I agree.
So it's like that, and the long runs, you know, on the weekends. That's bread and butter, you know. Yeah.
So you do, say, one speed work session a week?
Yes.
And
it'll
one.
Be
sorry, go on.
No. I was just going to say. So to clarify as well, you know, we say speed, but technically it's like long interval training, right?
Yes,
you know?
That's right.
So it's just like 1,000 meters up to, you know, 3,200. You know, I'll play in there, you know, with different intervals, but that's enough for me to at least get going through the gears and like work out some of the kinks and feel fluid when I'm going for some of these longer runs at slower speeds.
Yeah, because of course, doing that higher paced work not only works the systems, but also increases efficiency on your long runs too. So it's very important. Yeah.
Yes.
And so what do you do like the other days? Just sort of, just general sort of easy runs?
Yeah, general, more conversational pace, maybe a little faster, but not nearly touching the same set of gears that I'd use for the long interval training. So that what that manifests into is maybe anywhere between 5 to maybe 15 miles, you know, on a given day. And that may be broken up into 1 or 2 runs, you know, throughout the day. And that basically gives way to some longer runs occurring on the weekends.
Yeah, because of course you've got to build towards that as well, and building the aerobic system for that as well. And you do some sort of strength work?
Yeah. Prior to this year, I mean, I would always, I wouldn't always be in the gym, right? You know, there was a time when I was a gym head, but always body work, you know, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, swimming, you know, occasionally biking. I mean, like strength work is definitely key.
I agree.
And I can definitely feel when I'm deficient with it. It's just like, you know, sometimes the hitches will occur in the stride, you know, or maybe I'll get certain pains later on in longer runs, you know, when those were definitely absent when the program was incorporated.
Yeah. So are gyms open where you are yet?
Yes, there's actually a couple of gyms open here now, but
awesome.
You know, I'm not taking any chances though.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. All righty. And so are there any sort of tips that you can give people for, you know, for managing themselves over those long sort of events?
Let's see. Come in with the rest plan up front. Have an idea of, you know, at least ABC goals, you know, so that you at least have something that you're working towards. You know, I guess people always need something to work towards. So, you know that you're going to go through like the waves of, you know, ups and downs, but it's just, if you're always like, okay, well, I'm going to try to get to 60 or I'm trying to get to 50 hours. You know, at least you're moving through that and you're not getting stuck in that rut of what you're experiencing in the now, you know, because you're still looking a little bit forward to the future. That, and, you know, bring enough equipment. I say equipment, right? But what I really mean is like, you know, enough clothing if you got it, clothing and shoes, you know, keeping in mind like the feet, they're going to swell. So it seems simple, but it's just like, you know, it's something that we take for granted. You know, we show up with one pair of shoes and it's like, oh, well, you know, 48 hours later, man, you're going to be busting out the side of those things. So
I always have another pair of shoes that half a size up. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, so important.
And have fun. Have fun with it. Crack some jokes.
Yeah.
Talk some smack. In a good way,
Yeah.
in a loving way.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. We do this for fun, so we should try to enjoy it as well, and not be serious about it, but not so serious that it takes away from the fun.
That's it.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk about your event. And what I'll do is I will put, like I said, all the links in the show notes. And you sent me a little video. Is that all right if I add that video to this as well?
Oh, sure thing. Yeah, that's courtesy of the guys from True Form. So yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah,
I'll do that as well. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate talking with you as always, Izzo.
All right. See ya.
Cheers.